All right. So, 90s noise today. We've got a very special episode. So, it is our very first collaboration and our very first guest on 90s noise. So, we'd like to welcome Alex from Nostalgia Junkies.
Hey y'all, thanks for having me on.
Well, we're really glad to have you. So,
Yeah.
it's it's great. Now, another little quick thing, we did do a shout out to you a couple of little while back and everything, because
Mhm.
when we did have a little bit of a break, at that Super Bowl week, I think it was, you had sent a really nice message, and it really made both Ashley and I smile. So thank you
Oh,
for that,
thank
and
you.
Thank you.
first, thank you for being our first guest. And so
No problem.
we're
Yes.
we're gonna get right on started with this. So 90s, early 90s sitcom theme songs is what we are discussing today. You got your list,
Yeah.
Alex?
I do, and it was funny. I was originally I don't know if y'all were having some trouble. Like I had a hard time like finding some songs at first, and then it was like the floodgates opened, and trying to do the list of five was so difficult.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I like that
I
because
did too.
I just created my list like an hour ago because I thought we were doing any TV show from the 90s and April's like, "No, it's sitcom." And I'm like, "Okay, back to square one then. This is great." So,
hmm Yeah. I don't. Did y'all see like DuckTales like floating around this week a lot on social
Ye-
media?
yes, yes.
That was
That was
when we were talking about this. That was like the first one I tried to put down. I'm like, oh wait, it's not a sitcom.
yeah.
yeah. Ashley had texted me and she's like, "Do you have any animated ones on yours?" I'm like, "Animated sitcoms?" And that's what she was like, "Sitcoms? Oh shit."
Whoopsies.
All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Alex, it sounds like you've got a decent amount, so let's start with you. What's one of your top ones?
So the first one that I put down was actually Full House.
Hey,
I agree with that
woo!
one for
Like
sure.
such a good theme song. I just like the bass riff at the beginning. It made me think of Seinfeld, like
Okay,
listening
yeah.
back to it.
Mm,
And I feel like that like kind
yeah,
of became like the iconic thing of just doing that bass riff.
that's
Yeah,
true. Yeah, it's
Mhm,
very, very memorable that whole beat to that song. Yeah.
mhm,
absolutely. That was definitely also on on mine too. You just can't go wrong with that song. I mean, I don't know about
mhm.
you, but I know when I was growing up, anytime I'd hear that song come on, I'd be running to the TV to watch.
Yep.
Well, that's how a lot of the 90s songs were, though. I felt like they were so lengthy. So, like, you had so much time to get prepared for the show to start because they were
Mhm,
so long. So, like, okay, you hear it, you're like, okay, hurry up, grab the last minute things. The song is still going, and then it
mhm,
finally gets into the show. But yeah, a Full House is definitely on my list. You cannot go wrong with that theme song. It's such a classic. I love that one.
mhm.
Now, I do want to ask this question of you, Alex. Don't
Okay.
mind me. I do apologize if it's too personal or anything, but what year were you born?
93.
93. Okay. Okay. So
Yep.
we got we got youngin.
Yeah, I'm on the younger side of the 90s babies, but I mean, I was raised by VCR and library tapes, so
Ah, perfect, perfect. Do you have any older siblings?
I do not.
Okay.
But most of my
Okay.
friends growing up were like 3 to 4 years older than me. So
Okay.
I kind of got
Oh,
introduced into like
nice.
90s culture as a youngin'. And then when I was in high school, I was like still in the 90s mode. And everyone's like, no, no, it's Jersey Shore now. And I'm like, no,
Oh
I'm still
God,
like back in like sitcom land.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
absolutely. I
hmm
completely understand that. I
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because uh 91 and two older brothers, so I definitely had that older siblings keeping me up with the 90s and everything. And by the time Jersey Shore and stuff came around, they were done.
Yep.
All right. So I'll do my next one since we all had Full House on that one. Uh,
Hmm.
so one that, and this is one I've been legitimately humming all day, was Married with Children.
Ooh,
Hmm.
yeah,
Another good one.
that's a hummable one.
I
Mm-hmm.
just like legitimately, it was one that was a later, like a late night one. That's just love and marriage. Like you can't not hum it. And so that's always been one that's even not having truly watched those in
Hmm.
I don't know how many years, I still remember it to a T.
Hmm.
You watched that show? You watched Married with
Oh
Children?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I That was actually one of my dad's favorite shows. Um, it was a late night. If it was a situation where I just couldn't sleep, I'd go out into the living room. My dad would have the TV to himself, so he'd be watching Married with Children, and I'd just come and I'd sit with him and watch it. Probably not necessarily appropriate for a child of my age, but
You don't think the 90s were a great, healthy relationship?
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So many of those things went over my head, obviously, but like
Mm-hmm.
watching it now is just, I can't believe my dad allowed me to watch it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh.
It's like I don't. Did either of you grow up watching Futurama?
I saw some of it, Futurama.
So yeah. So like I remember like I watched Married with Children like as a kid. Again, like watching it, and I remember a buddy and I were watching. There was the episode where they do a spin with children and Katie Seagal, who Peg Bundy, was Leela. It was a whole thing about her marrying this alien named Al. And I was like, oh my gosh, they are doing Married with Children on Futurama.
Oh,
Oh my
wow.
gosh. I may have to look that up now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Me too. That's really funny.
It was always because then she was in the decom uh
Oh, Smart House.
Smart House.
Smart
Yes.
House. Yeah.
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 Yep.
And so like when I saw that, I'm like, Married with Children.
She has been in so much, and I feel it's played everything from like the really maternal side to like the hardcore kick-ass side. Like she has
Oh
Mm-hmm.
so
yeah,
much range.
She
absolutely.
does. Yeah.
Mhm.
Freaking incredible. All right, so what each of you got next?
I am gonna throw out Sister Sister. I love that theme song so much. I mean, it's so catchy. Sister,
Mhm.
sister.
Gosh.
It's one of those things where I feel like the 90s threw a lot of those theme songs where they
Mhm.
said the title of the show in them.
Mhm.
So, like, you can't forget what you're watching. Like, you know what's about to start.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, there's. I feel like you just said, there was so much of that introducing the cast of characters and hey, here's the show. Don't forget it. We're gonna say it 15, 20
Mm-hmm.
times. But it was done
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
catchy that you'd find yourself like in the car, like going, sister, sister, like
Mm-hmm.
you're just humming it, and they're just. I love the jingles.
That's the
I love
best
it so
word for
much.
them is yeah, they were just long jingles.
They kind
Hmm.
of were, yeah.
Yeah. What else do
Okay,
you got, Alex?
so I have Family Matters next.
Oh,
So
yes. That was
Okay,
and
I
I
never
just
watched that show, so I don't know how that goes.
it's as the days go by, and like it's so funny, and like I again, it was kind of like very similar to that Full House intro. They're both part of that TGIF block where it's
Mm.
almost like even saying like font typing, where they just show all the cast of characters. Go through talk about how like it's a loving family and filling the house with love, and it's just it was kind of very cheesy, but just like you talked about with like Married with Children, and we talked about Sister Sister, it tells you what the show's about. And that was
Mhm.
really
Mm,
the point of a theme song back in the day was, hey, this is what's going on. We're trying to get you with that
yep.
quick, beginning of the song and tell you what the show's about so you stay and watch it.
Absolutely.
That's a
I
pretty good point. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
and
did tell you what that was about.
that was a good show. And
Mhm.
Ashley, I'm still like we've already discussed the fact that there's some shows that you didn't see growing up that I'm amazed at. And I don't know, have you it was just kind of going back around recently, the clip from one of the episodes of Family Matters. It was towards the end of the episode where um like the little kids had come in and I think it's got I don't even remember exactly, but ends up being the little boy is like, "You're right, he does look like Uncle Phil," or something like that. A-
Yes.
And he comes in and it's just and then the dad from Family Matters just can't control himself. He just completely breaks character and is like, "What the hell? Like, can't believe you did this to me."
Hmm.
But I sent that to Ashley, and she just is like, might be better if I'd actually seen the show.
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
my. So have either of you watched Step by Step?
yes.
Yes.
Love
So
that show.
that had escaped me in my youth, so I've recently been like rewatching it, or
Oh,
actually
okay.
watching it the first time. And I watched the pilot, and I'm like, okay, this is a very interesting show. And I watched the second episode, and Urkel's a guest star on the first episode. And I was just like, this is the first episode, like other than the pilot of this show, and here's Urkel coming in on a jetpack.
Oh my gosh. I did love that, how they combined
They,
all those
mm-hmm.
TGIF shows.
TGIF. Yep.
It
Hmm.
was
Yeah.
just, everybody
They
was
did a lot of that.
jumping in on somebody else's show.
Oh yeah.
That, that was always so entertaining.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ashley, what's your next one?
Well, I was gonna say step by step. So I mean,
Ah,
like that again. I mean, I feel like we're just following all the other
Yeah.
songs. It's okay. What are we watching? Oh, step by step. And that theme song was so freaking long. I think it was like 2+ minutes long of a theme song, and it like just keeps going and going, and you're like, okay. But I still really love it. It's just a classic. I mean, it's such a upbeat, family-friendly tune, and just the show itself, like you said, it was such a great one to watch growing up.
I
And
have
like you
to
said, it
say,
was it was long.
it,
It was so
yeah,
long.
It was so long.
it's been a long time since I've seen that. I don't think I could even like hum that theme song. Ashley, hum it for us.
Step by step, day by. I actually don't know the
Oh,
lyric. Da, da, da,
okay. Actually,
da.
now that does ring a bell because like I said, it's been a while, but
Yeah.
even
It
just those
as soon
first.
as you hear a couple notes,
Hmm.
you know what's happening.
Exactly.
Mhm. Yeah. It was just interesting to watch all the dynamics of the kids. And I remember I was trying to like figure out the age of the kids because it just kind of seemed like that ambiguous,
Yeah.
we're in high school. And you definitely have like,
Mm-hmm.
your kids who are older and your kids who are younger, but then they don't age, but they definitely look like they're
Right.
getting older as you go on through the seasons. I'm like, okay, you're looking like you're in your mid 20s and you're still a sophomore in high school. This is
Still
kind of
in your
weird.
yes, yes, yeah, exactly.
uh,
Yeah, it was kind of like a modern, well, for the '90s, a modern day Brady Bunch family almost.
mm, yeah,
Yep.
very
It
true.
they really hit like every trope that you could have in a family type.
Oh my God,
You
they
had the
did.
nerd, you had your rough and tumble tomboy, you had like your wannabe influencer, you had your brainiac. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was all
Mm-hmm.
of it.
All of that. Yeah. But it's also kind of cool because the same people that wrote Step by Step also wrote the Full House song. So they
Okay.
have a lot of similarities
Hmm.
in that, which is kind of cool. Or I should say Full House was written, and then I guess Step by Step, but
Talking about long theme songs,
uh-oh.
this is probably one of my all-time favorite theme songs, and I know it's not on Ashley's list because she never watched this growing up. So, uh, but Fresh Prince.
How did you never watch Fresh Prince?
We've
I
already
don't
been
know.
over this.
I don't
She's
know. You gotta ask my parents. I didn't. I guess I wasn't raised very well.
Oh, I love that show so
Mhm.
much. So much.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and I
And
remember like watching sorry, the Ninja
you're
Turtles and hearing Shredder and like, man, that
yes,
sounds like Uncle Phil. And it was
yes,
Uncle Phil.
because he voiced Shredder
Oh.
on the cartoon series for a little bit.
Oh.
And so yeah, that's one of the things. And just I don't know if you guys ever had this, but in high school we had a 90s themed dance, and they played the full Fresh Prince about their theme song, and it was hilarious because everybody was spitting the first verse and everything, and then it gets to the second verse, and everybody's just like, "What?" There's a second verse, and so it will always be one of my top theme songs for sure.
Mhm.
Um, of the 90s. You just can't beat that one. You can't.
Yeah. No. I play music in my spare time at like bars and vineyards, and that is actually a song in my set list to get like everybody
Oh,
singing and like
awesome.
moving along. I actually mashed it up with Sweet Home Alabama.
Really?
And it
Ooh.
was I start playing Sweet Home Alabama, people are singing along, and then you
Yep.
switch up in like in West Philadelphia, born and raised, and I was like, what?
Oh,
And
that
I
sounds
had
like a cool mix up. I like
I
that.
yeah,
like
and
that.
I had to make sure there was a Blair, Alabama before I did the song, just because like that's the OCD part of me, and luckily
Mhm.
there is. So like this song is just perfect.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm sure Ashley hasn't seen it, but Alex, I don't know if you have. A few years ago, this was maybe like already 5, 10 years ago. Um, Will and Alfonso and Will's son were all on Graham Norton, which is a British talk show,
Hmm.
and Will and his son, uh, Jaden, had did the rap, like did the whole thing. And
Oh, cool.
Alfonso's on up there too, and he gets up and is doing the Carlton
Hmm.
and stuff. Absolutely phenomenal. And Will still has it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
poor poor guy. He probably that's gonna probably be on like his tombstone or something.
So I will say, 'cause I don't know if I mentioned it, that was actually the top of my list, that song.
Ooh.
That
But that 90s to mid 90s Will Smith, Big Willie style, phenomenal album.
mhm,
Like
yes,
Mm.
Will Smith
absolutely.
has so many hits from that era that
Mm-hmm.
he was trying to do something recently, and the rap game has changed so much from where it used to be, like the kind of heavy beat with like the slow speaking, and
Mm.
it's I think for us like 90s kids we loved it, but
Hmm.
working with middle schoolers they're like, why is he talking so slow? What is he doing? Who's Will Smith? And it hurts my heart every time they ask who Will Smith is. They only know
Oh
Will Smith
no.
from what happened with Chris Rock.
Are
That's
you
Oh,
the only
oh
serious?
reason they
no.
know
Oof,
him, and it's
That's
so upsetting.
that's
oof,
crazy how the generations change like that.
that
Oh,
is. Oof.
it is a good song. I couple episodes that I was made to watch. Yes, it's a very good song. I agree with that.
Sound like your arm was twisted to watch those.
Slightly.
Oh, she doesn't even know what she's in for coming up.
Oh my gosh.
See, a little side note. She grew up with an older sister. I had two older brothers. So my childhood was much more male based, I guess. Like
Hmm.
I watched all of like the ninja movies, like Three Ninjas, Surf Ninjas, um, Double Dragon, all of those different ones that are cult classics, and that if you didn't have a brother in your life, you probably would
Hmm.
have never have seen, or if you weren't male, because back in the 90s it was so geared towards the gender.
Hmm.
Yep.
It was very much, this is for girls, this is for boys. And there really wasn't a big, like, anything that came together like there is now. But for me, since I had older brothers who they won the fights for the controller and everything, I got stuck with that.
Hmm.
So she doesn't know what she's in for later on.
You know, I feel like I'm kind of with Ashley here. I'm discovering a lot of that stuff from the 90s. I was raised by a single mom, so I was
Okay.
Hmm.
very much raised in a musical household. And now I'm like,
Mhm.
oh,
Okay.
Three Ninjas, and we're
Oh,
watching through like all of like the John Candy stuff now, and I
oh,
Oh,
absolutely love it.
yes.
yes,
Like,
Love,
yes,
oh,
love John Candy.
absolute
mm.
impeccable, like absolute.
We just weren't allowed that in the household. It was too violent and too crude and
Mm.
crass, and I'm like, this
Uh-oh.
isn't even that bad. Like,
It's not,
it's more
no.
cheesy.
And
It's so cheesy.
when you think of what is on today,
Hmm.
it's nothing compared to what
Yeah.
kids are introduced to at such a younger age now. And so it's like, okay, they said the word but.
Hmm.
Like, okay, they're cussing up a storm in PG movies nowadays.
I was just thinking about that because it's weird. Like as a teacher, I'm trying to find movies that my kids are going to lose me my job,
Hmm.
and they mentioned crap in a movie. And I'm like, we can't say that.
Oh,
And it's just
no.
like you said, like we couldn't even like talk about butts, even make a butt joke. Like Ren and Stimpy was such a taboo cartoon back in the day,
Oh,
Oh
yes.
yes,
and now like Ren and Stimpy is so tame compared to what the kids watch.
It is. That's crazy.
that's crazy thinking about that.
Wow.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, all right, what else
Uh,
you guys got?
okay, I have a Home Improvement. I love, 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 love that show. And it's not, thankfully, it's not a lyrical song, it's just the music. And then, of course, I love how they include Tim's classic. I don't. I can't do it very well, but his classic thing in the song. I just love it so much. I just can't get
Mhm.
enough of that.
Mhm.
That's a good one.
No, that's such a great show. I loved the ongoing bit of more power. We need more
I
power.
Yes,
know.
more
I
power.
love it. He
Oh,
ruined every good invention by giving it more power, but okay, Tim.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was so good though. Yeah.
absolutely. What else you got, Alex?
I have Cheers.
Oh, yeah,
Where everybody knows your name, and just
yes.
like it was such. I feel like it was such a different theme song than what we were like used to. We're like
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
90s, like right there, was like towards the end of Cheers' run. You had that electric guitar, you had that bass. There was like I feel like we're going more of electrical vibe, where Cheers was just like that soft piano, where it's like welcome to the bar, sit down,
Mm.
stay a while,
Mm-hmm.
and while it didn't really tell you a lot, it it made you feel like you knew what the show was about. And then, I mean, who couldn't love the cast that they had with like Ted Danson, Rhea Perlman, John Ratzenberger, like George Wendt. The show, I think it's probably one of my favorite sitcoms, like overall.
Oh, really?
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, like
I
yeah.
have never seen it, so
Really?
just saying.
At all?
No. I,
it was
I don't
one
know
of
why I
those.
even say this anymore. You should just know. I don't.
It's one of those that I would be if it wasn't Married with Children. That was what that my dad had on. It was just a lot of times Cheers, and I will admit that kind of like Married with Children kept my attention a lot of the times. Cheers, I'd kind of be able to fall asleep to at being a young kid and everything because it all everything was way above my head. But I still do remember that theme song very much so. And that
I
is
think it
definitely
probably also helped being New England based. So like going
yeah,
to where like that bar is based out of, like the Bullfinch
Oh.
yeah,
Tavern, like in our early 20s, we just like walk on in and we'd yell Norm. The bartenders would hate us because they hear it a dozen times a day, if not more.
yes,
But for us, like we loved it. So we'd walk and go
Oh my gosh.
Norm, and we'd sit down. You could sit down like where it would have been in the bar, and it was such
That's
just a fun experience. It definitely brought back that show like into adulthood.
yeah.
oh cool. I
Out of
love that when shows do that.
yeah, out of curiosity, did they film any of it there, or was it
Oh.
more in
The intro.
studio?
So
Okay,
the
Mm.
intro to the show, when they're like walking down the steps and the outside shots are all shot in Boston, the entire
okay,
interior of the bar is shot on a soundstage.
okay,
They none
Okay.
of none of the inside of the bar at the Bullfinch Tavern was actually used in Cheers. And after Cheers started gaining popularity, they remodeled the interior of that tavern
I was gonna
to
ask.
look like
Yeah.
the Cheers set.
You kind of have to at that point. I mean, because
yeah,
everyone's gonna want that same vibe. So that was smart on
Yeah.
their part, though, because they
Could you
probably got a
imagine
lot more
like
business.
we're gonna go visit the Cheers bar, and you walk in, it looks completely different.
oh, that would be so disappointing.
You would be so, yeah, so
You just be
disappointed.
like, no, like what? Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Oh, all right. My next one is Boy Meets World.
No, not the
Woo,
original
boy meets
song,
world.
the
I was just
later
about to
seasons,
say
right?
Like, yeah, the first
that
season
those
was
first
the
couple of seasons. Ooh, those are so cringe.
yeah.
Where he's like watching the thing. Oh, where's the ball? So bad.
Yeah,
It is, yeah.
yeah.
But
Oh,
no, the main one that everybody knows, I know that that wasn't technically the earlier 90s part, but that's since Boy Meets World was still on. And
Hmm.
there are some, I think even, because I know that some of the different places for streaming services, they redo music in the shows. And I think there's a few that like threw in the newer theme song into some of the earlier seasons too.
Well, probably because it's just so bad
It,
those first couple of seasons.
it
Like, I wonder if any other shows have done that where they've taken a theme song that going from no words to having lyrics change, changing it
mhm,
halfway through the season because that was really smart on their part by doing that
mhm,
because it changed the whole game with how the show was presented. Like
yeah,
I loved the season 4 theme song. Like I think that was like the epitome of the show. Like and that theme song from that season was the best
yeah,
for it. I love that so much.
mm,
well, I think just like how the actors on that show grew up and the storylines grew with them, so did that theme song.
Mm,
And like you're
yeah,
just saying,
mm,
that the theme song was reminiscent of what the show was about. So to keep that season one theme song as terrible as it was, would
yeah.
have served that purpose of introducing the show.
oh god, yeah. I can't imagine if they were like in college and still playing that. That would have been.
Oh,
Seeing now old Corey dodge the moving globe.
I honestly want to kind of see that,
yeah,
but I don't think I would have kept wanted to keep watching the show. You kind of would have been like, this doesn't look like it's gonna be good. You know what
yeah,
I mean? As a
yeah.
kid, it's kind of cute, but then yeah, as they aged, it kind of worked that they changed the theme song to
Mhm.
to correlate with that.
Now, did either of you watch Girl Meets World when it was on Disney Channel
I
or any of the
watched it
reruns?
on the net when it
No.
went to
Mm-mm.
Netflix before Disney Plus came out, and so yes, and I'd actually met Danielle Fishel at MegaCon a few years ago, right before she had her first child. Super, super nice.
Very jealous.
All four of them were there. So, uh, Ryder, Ben, and Will were all there also, but it was just limited. That was another year, kind of like this year's gonna be, where there was just so many
Mm.
people I couldn't go to every single one, and I was like, I want to meet Topanga, Topanga, like
No, I love that show. I got a kick out of with Girl Meets World. How we were
yeah.
just talking about how bad the intro was for Boy Meets World. The theme song wasn't as bad, but it kind of did the same thing of dodging the globe with the main
Mm.
actress for the intro for Girl Meets World. It's like,
Oh.
so did we not realize it was bad until a few years ago? Because I thought it was pretty evident, like in the '90s, that it was bad.
Yeah,
Oh my. I wonder if they were just doing it for,
the
comedic,
nostalgia.
shits and giggles. Yeah, they're like,
They, yeah, I didn't think about that.
I'll have to watch that though. I've been wanting to watch that though.
It's actually not.
Mhm.
It's not that bad, honestly. And they bring so many of the characters back that
Hmm.
it really
Worth it.
was. Yeah, it
Hmm.
it it was. I enjoyed that. I was actually very surprised at how much I enjoyed that show.
I feel like Girl Meets World gets more of a bad rap than it deserves. I feel like it was really expected for
Yeah.
it to live up to Boy Meets World, and it's hard to recapture that.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
they did recapture some of those like harder hitting storylines. It wasn't every week like Boy Meets World
Yes.
was, but every now and then they really had a good storyline with like making Maya, that hunter.
Mhm.
It was
Yes.
good. Or
Mm.
not hunt Sean. Where'd I get Hunter's
Yeah.
last name? I was like, where
Oh,
am I getting that from?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I knew who
Sean
you were talking
Hunter.
about though.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
late.
No. Understand. Understand. Yeah. Actually, Sabrina Carpenter, the
Mhm.
actress who plays her,
Mm.
she sings, and she's actually going to be in St. Pete. Not this Thursday, or is it this week? I can't remember if it's this week
Oh.
or next week. She's going to be
Oh.
performing and everything. I'm
Oh,
seeing if
cool.
I can get to it because I think she's progressed and grown very maturely and everything. So,
Mhm.
and hey, they, like I said, they did a decent job with that show.
Mhm. I would say, speaking of cons, and you mentioned cons a little bit, and you mentioned a con a couple weeks ago on your podcast that's happening in the Connecticut
Are you
Hartford area.
going?
I am going.
Oh,
I'm so jealous.
oh,
I just
Ah.
got my badge in the mail the other day, and I was like, "What
Oh
is that?"
my
I'm like, oh, it's
gosh.
'90s Con. I
oh.
Oh,
cannot wait.
that's gonna be
We
so amazing.
we legitimately, so when they announced that they were going to be coming to Florida originally, like months ago, they had posted a little video on their stories, and I was watching it, and I stopped it because there was like this little ticker that was scrolling across that they just had in the screen, and it said Tampa Bay. And so I was like,
Oh.
oh my gosh, they're going to be coming. And so finally, just on Thursday, they finally announced it, the 90s Con in September here in Tampa. And Ashley and I are going to be like the first ones to get tickets. Like we're prepared. So with that, I
Yay.
have to ask, is there anybody specific that you're looking
Yeah.
forward to the most?
Yeah, so I'm really excited for the cast of all that, and
Yes.
then
Oh.
also Saved by the Bell.
Oh,
However,
yes.
all this like the Saved by the Bell group photo sold out.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm a little sad that I won't be able to get a photo with everybody, but I'm still hoping to get a picture, you know, with Mark Paul Gosselaar and Mario Lopez. So like I'm hoping to
Mm-hmm.
get that. And
Yes.
but I'm excited more for I'd say all that because they have the big orange couch signature the
Yeah,
collage on
that
Yes.
that.
that
And then probably
that's
Ski,
so worth it.
Blue's Clues.
Yes.
I that would I would love to meet him. Yeah.
So Ashley,
Yep.
he is going to be at MegaCon with us.
Oh, he is?
Yeah. So
Oh.
we've got MegaCon at the end of March, beginning of April. And this
Oh yeah, we have
the
Mark and Mario coming to that one.
yeah, they're coming to that one, and then we've got like the list is just crazy. We've got people from Scream, uh
Mhm.
Skeet, uh, Matthew, Jamie, Nev, and Henry Winkler are all gonna be there. And then they threw in
Huh.
like Hayden Christensen, James
Mhm.
McAvoy. I mean, the list is. We're just looking at each other and we're like,
It's ridiculous.
we're
Yeah.
we're
It's
we're
ridiculous.
we're dead. Like, just take all of our money. Just do it. But we definitely want to
I
hear how 90s con goes.
Yeah. Well, I'm
yeah.
sure you'll be posting about it,
Yeah.
but
Oh, I can't wait, and I'm happy. So my normal co-host Brandon is also going to be going as well, and he
awesome.
tried to talk me to going last year, and it was a weekend I wasn't able to make it,
Mhm.
and the entire weekend that I was in like just weekend meetings, it was awful. He's sending me
Oh.
pictures
Ooh.
of him at 90s Con, like I met Jason
Oh
Marsden, I met
no.
Kathy Najimy, and I'm like, I'm like,
Oh, just
really,
rub it
really?
in.
Yeah. Well, Jason's gonna be there
Are you
this year too.
Yep.
are you going
So
for the full weekend?
So I had bought the big package,
Mhm.
but I'm
Mm.
supposed to work that Saturday, so I think I'm gonna try and sell the Friday and Saturday ticket and then use
I
that
mean, yeah, like
to buy the
oops, I'm
experiences
sick.
on Sunday. So,
I would just be, I can't come
I
into
mean,
work today.
if I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. We'll see.
Don't worry, we won't post this until well after, so you know.
Oh,
Oh, that's funny.
hmm
No, that's exactly it. It's one of those, what is it? Mean Girls when she's on the phone, like, I can't come out
Yep.
tonight.
Oh
I'm
God.
sick.
Oh, I
Well,
am. I kind of just want to go and like walk around and people watch and see what's going on.
Yes.
It has been
that would
so long
probably
since I've
be
been to a
yeah.
con. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what's going on. I'm a people
What's
watcher.
going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Heck yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, do you either of you have Saved by the Bell on your list? I mean,
Yes.
It's in my honorables.
ooh, okay,
Okay.
it's in my honorable as well. So,
That was I don't even know what number we're at, honestly. I've lost track on where we're at, but we're hey.
Mhm.
Yes, Saved by the Bells, definitely. I mean, that's
Mhm.
that you can't go wrong. Like that was
Now,
definitely one that go ahead.
yeah, did y'all remember Good Morning Miss Bliss growing up?
oh God, don't get us started on that.
Because
So
like I
little
remember seeing it, and
yeah.
then I was talking about it with friends like when we were in high school, and people
Hmm.
did not believe me that that was a show. And it wasn't until like years later they were trying to convince me that it was like a Mandela effect that I just made up
oh
this
shit.
show. And it was like, no, there was Saved by the Bell, there was Saved by Bell the college years, and there was
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
no, there was a show before Saved by the Bell, and they were trying to like convince me that it was a Mandela effect.
So funny story.
Hmm
When we first started doing our podcast and everything, when we were doing our TV episode, and we were watching. I think at that what that week was Fresh Prince and Saved by the Bell or something like that.
hmm
And so on, I think it's Hulu. Good Morning Miss
Mm-hmm.
Bliss is listed as Saved by the Bell season one.
Yeah, they don't even recognize it as a separate show. That's
They
the
don't.
problem. Like,
It's
it's
because
so screwy.
I was watching it. I'm like, where's because it was doing the pilot. I was like, where's Mario? Where's Kelly? Like it's just because like for I think the first episode only had um Zach, Screech, and Lisa. I think we're the only ones
Mm.
in that first episode, and so I'm just sitting there going. this isn't familiar. Like I remember this because I remember I remember Miss Bliss, but I was like, where that? And then it came to find out because I think Ashley was watching on a different service, like a
Hmm.
different streaming service, and she's like, no. I'm like, I watched the wrong
Well,
freaking
no,
thing.
because you told me to watch a certain episode, and I
Yeah.
it wasn't the correct season because they have the seasons wrong. So that's how we
Yes.
discovered that it was all messed up.
I found that a lot of streaming services will mess up like the seasons and episodes, especially
Yeah.
with like that where there was a different series that kind of fed in and was rebranded.
Mhm. Yeah.
I feel like the best is always go to IMDb and just look up whatever the episode title is.
Yeah, you have to look at the
I
titles. Yeah.
IMDb is like my like
Mm-hmm.
extra limb and everything. Constantly, we'll be watching something, and my husband had posted had sent me like a meme, and it was uh like people running. And it's like my wife when she has 5 minutes into a movie when she has to look up I all the cast members on IMDb. I'm like, yep, pretty much.
Gotta know.
That's how I am. I'm always looking up like who is that? And then you look up everything
Yeah.
they're in, and then you're just
Yeah.
going
Yes.
down the IMDb rabbit hole. And like, did you know that in 1972 they were in this movie with this person who was also in this? And
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
connecting
It's
all the dots,
awful.
and I just see like that like the pin boards with like true crime. That's like
Yes.
my head with movies.
It's the whole 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon type thing.
Yes, I haven't heard that in forever.
Oh my gosh.
I literally would play that with my mom. We'd pick we randomly pick like two actors or actresses, and if we'd have the other one would have to figure out like the how they were separated, like they worked with this person on this
Oh.
and this person on that, and figure out the connection and everything. That we would do like drives, 8 hour drives down to Texas for concerts and stuff. And so that would be our killing time was that. And
I
that was
love that.
before IMDb.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. What else we got?
That's all on my list.
so I have one that we haven't mentioned yet.
Okay.
Oh.
Golden Girls.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
and
guess I always
I
forget
mean,
that was in the 90s too.
and I thought it was earlier as well. Like I thought it was more of an 80s show, and
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
it was. I mean, it came out in the 80s, but it ran up to 92. And I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
Oh.
Cheers started in 82 and went to 93. So I was like, I thought Golden Girls was way before like
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
them. But I always like my family actually we have a head canon with uh, Betty White that we think that Betty White's character from Golden Girls should have been Woody's mother from Cheers.
Mm.
That we always kind of hope that Woody was from St. Olaf because
Oh.
they're very similar and like they're kind of like they're smart but very ditzy.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
I wish there would have been a crossover like when they were both out, but
That
there
would have
never
been kind of cool.
was.
No.
That would have been
Mm.
awesome. That would have been one to watch for sure.
Yeah.
I've got one more that we haven't mentioned. This is kind of later in our 90s, us going up to 95. Friends,
Yep.
When did Friends start?
94.
Oh.
I double checked.
I I
I did not watch that show. So, I mean,
Really?
yeah, we all know the theme song, but I just never watched it to where I'm like,
I'm amazed at what the shows you haven't watched. Like, oh my, I think I've seen Friends 3 or 4 times over.
wow.
So were they on a break? Were they on a break?
Ashley, you have no idea what he's talking about, do you?
No,
Well, it depends on who you ask.
Yep.
Or were they needing to pivot?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I know you all were just also with pop culture phenomena too. They just did
Yeah.
this whole breakdown of the break, and I think I can't remember who we had on, but I think they broke it down perfectly by words alone. Yes, they were on a break, as Rachel said, they were on a break. However, we
Mhm.
all know that that's not what was meant. That's
Oh.
what was said. That's not what was meant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
So,
I would watch Friends because it would be one of those shows that was on they would play reruns before something else. Like a new episode. It wasn't the same station or anything, but it would be something similar to like I was watching it before, say Charmed or something. Um,
Mm.
and so I would, because I, having my older brothers, I had to claim the TV at a certain point if I wanted to watch something. And so I just have to watch whatever was in front of what I wanted. And so I'd get some episodes of Friends here and there. And at that point, I was still too young to really understand it. But going back, it's been decent. Haven't watched it in its entirety yet, but I'm slowly working it.
So is the Friends theme song, is that um trying to think of how to word it. Is that like an original song or was that created for Friends? You know what I mean?
I know
You know what I'm saying?
it was original song for the Remembrance. I don't know if they especially
Mhm.
wrote that for Friends, but
Okay.
I mean it might have just been a song that they picked up for Friends.
Mm.
I know that it
Yeah.
ended up being my graduation song. Like I've had that song played at so
Oh,
many
really?
events. Yeah, it was my high school graduation song. It
Aw.
was our song for college.
Wow.
I love the Friends theme song. I'm just sick of it being used for everything.
Eh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's over. In my opinion, I think for events
Mm-hmm.
it's overplayed.
Yeah.
Understand. Kind of like the vitamin C graduation song being
Hmm.
overplayed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yikes. Oh.
Now, I did have one more that was it was a stupid theme song, but it
Okay.
Oh,
was
God.
just so catchy that every time it came on, I just sing along to it. The
Oh.
Frasier theme song.
Yeah, that one is kind of like
I don't think
Talk
I've
it's
about
ever seen
tossed
a
random. It is
salad and
full
very.
scrambled
episode.
eggs.
I've never
How,
seen a full episode, no.
how does
But
it go?
There's a really heavy bass line and it's Kelsey Grammer just like scatting over it.
mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
the only words I can really remember are in the morning I'm having tossed salad and scrambled eggs. And at the end he goes, Fraser has left the building.
Oh, like it's so
Yes.
random.
It
Yes.
was so random, but it was so catchy that you needed just I could listen to Kelsey Grammer sing about scrambled eggs all day.
It kind of is like one of those where you're like flipping through, back in the day when you flip through channels and like that you start hearing that you kind of have to stop and be like, what is this? Like what's about to happen? Because
Yeah.
it's so random. It's so weird,
Mhm.
but it is. It's very different than all of the other theme songs we've been talking about, really.
Mhm. Yeah, and like while like all the other theme songs like gave that idea of what was gonna happen in the show, or was like
Yeah.
very like even like the Full House and Family Matters, like while it wasn't necessarily describing the show, it talked about family and love and happiness.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yep.
Frasier theme song was so nonsensical to then talk about to be it was a psychologist radio like host
Hmm.
and his brother and his brother's British wife, and for a show that like seemed to be so sophisticated to have such a crazy theme song, it was just out there.
Mm-hmm.
That is always interesting how they do that. And it's almost one of those things where they do that to grab you and make you like, okay, what's this gonna be
Mm-hmm.
about? And then you're like, okay, this is it kind of is like that that fishing line
Hmm.
and just
Mm.
hooks you in. They
Yep.
they don't make they don't make those theme songs like they used to. They really
No.
don't.
No, they don't. Yeah, like we were saying before, they were so long back then,
Hmm.
and I feel like most of the theme songs, that especially the ones we mentioned, they were very original to the show. Like they were written specifically for the show, and I don't feel like they do that as much anymore.
Hmm.
I feel like they just pull songs from artists and they just kind of slap it on, and that's the theme song.
Hmm.
So,
And then
yeah,
by season two, they just
definitely.
give you 15 seconds and that's it.
Oh,
Right, yeah, you don't even get the intro anymore. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
you know what was it? There's something we were watching, and it was a couple seasons long, and the first season theme song was great, and then the second it's just like two lines of music, and you're like, and why? Come on, bring it back, please. I
Hmm.
like
Well, I
that.
mean, nowadays you get the option to skip the intro. So I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of shows are not even trying with the intros anymore because they
True.
know like you have the option to skip it. So what's the point?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's part of it probably.
We never
Hmm.
had that option growing up. It was
We didn't. No.
you ran to the bathroom on your commercial breaks, and then and if you had siblings that were
Hmm.
rude and everything, they'd be, it's back on, and you'd be like rushing and jumping couches and everything, and then it was still like 5 minutes of commercial.
It was still commercial.
Yes. I remember we had a like cutout between the kitchen and the living room,
Hmm.
and you couldn't see the TV from like where the microwave was.
Mm.
And I remember like running in, like throwing the bag of popcorn, starting it, and I could hear like just like the intro music, "Hey, we're back from commercial," and I just like vaulted through the window like
Oh
onto the
my
couch.
God.
And if it was just me at home, it would have been fine. My mom was sitting on the couch, and
Oh
the young
no.
me didn't think about the dots connecting. I'm like, oh shoot, I am in trouble. I've done it. I did it so many times when she wasn't home, but then it was like it became to second nature. Like, oh shit, I just
Yep.
vaulted the window. She's
Oh
right there.
no.
We
That's
would
hilarious.
we would sometimes so we would have a couch, and it was either vaulting over the couch or vaulting over one of our like chairs like that you could
Hmm.
lean back and almost like lay down in. I don't know how many times we practically broke that chair by doing that. That it just, by the time we got rid of it, it wasn't even nobody even would dumpster dive that shit because it was just so broken from all those times. But yeah, we didn't even have, like, our living room and their kitchen had a wall between them. And so if we were in the kitchen making anything, it was literally somebody would just be like, it's back on. And my brothers would do it all the time. And I'd run in there and, you said it was back on. Yeah, I just wanted to see how fast you'd get back in here.
That's funny. Oh.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
So, out, out of curiosity, any
Okay.
any sitcoms? I know we did kind of just the early 90s right now, but what was your probably all-time favorite sitcom of the 90s?
hmm.
I would
You
say
could say
just from
one as a
memories.
kid and then as
Okay.
an adult, kind of thing.
Um, I would say as a kid, it was probably like watching Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay.
I
Oh.
I thought like it was just such a funny show. Um, my grandmother was very much like how Marie is, and my grandfather was very much how Frank is. Just like,
Oh.
Okay.
loving but stern and very sarcastic, but a dry sense of humor, which is a very weird mix to have. And so like as a kid, like we would joke about like myself being Raymond, my cousin being Robert, or vice versa, and
Oh my
just
gosh.
just being an odd family dynamic, and it was great. As an adult, looking back, I would say that '70s show.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Have
like
you
that.
watched any of that 90s show yet?
Oh. It's good, right? It's
Uh,
not good.
Ooh.
I've watched it. I think that there are some really good episodes. I
Mm-hmm.
don't
Yeah.
think that the kids are the strength of the show this time around. And I
Hmm.
No.
don't think it's because of the kids. I think that the acting for them, or not sorry, not the acting, the writing for them wasn't done that well. I it
Mm-hmm.
it didn't seem like they capitalized on a lot of like the 90s stuff for them. Like we had the mall episode, which was great. We had the
Mm-hmm.
intro to computers, but other than that, it kind of felt like they were just kind of going through the motions and trying to update old bits from the 70s show
Yeah.
and just say like, hey, it's the 90s. Where I felt like Red and Kitty definitely they were the best part of that
Oh
90s
yeah, they
show.
owned that show. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you end
I
up
would have been
watching the
fine
whole
if it
thing?
was just them. I did watch the whole thing. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
episode where he gets the massage chair. I loved like just how tranquil he was, and then when Kitty goes
Yeah.
and unplugs it, and there's just the
Oh
complete
my.
shift mid sentence.
Instant. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It was great.
Yep. I loved it.
I'm working on it. I'll be honest, I didn't do a lot of that 70s show, and so I've bits and pieces throughout. But I have started watching that 90s show, and so I'm trying to get into it and everything too, because I know Ashley was like, "You should watch it." So there is something that I've not seen that Ashley has.
We finally found a show.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for joining us on 90s Noise this evening.
Yes,
Thanks for
thank
having me.
you.
This has been a lot of fun. And we will definitely be in touch.